Well, let's see if we can get this legendary crate that I seem to have been chasing for ever. Hey Zen, it's at 126.8 I think. Look at a real player. Yeah, it's good when it works. For about a month it used to take 4 or 5 goes just to get a match. Cookie God. Hey, welcome. We're chasing the legendary crate. I don't have Mansell for the opening round. Even though the odds are extremely low of getting him, I gotta at least give it a go. Stefan and Russell. gold. I love it when people use that setup. Surely this legendary crate must be close. Yeah, level 3 there'll be like 104. Let's go have a look at the season score. I need to upgrade, I need more of these. I'm trying, I want to get to 130%. 50 extra days on the crate timer is massive. Upgrades are pointless, they're like 0.2% or some ridiculous amount. But these two here, if I can get more of these two, I'll get closer to 130. If I get more of these two, I should be able to get over 130. Look, I'm not that far away. What is it? 27.2%. So a couple of podium stars hopefully will get me there. Ugh. No epic all for the sake of $1. Oh well, let's go. Yeah. I got the Staffen podium star from Weekly League. I got Senna and the rest of them from Legendary Crates. I got Verstappen and Senna at the same time. Literally one after. I had a Legendary Crate that was ready to open, and I had the Weekly League Legendary Crate, so I opened the Weekly League Crate. I get Verstappen. I then opened the Legendary Crate. I had waiting on the timer and got Senna. And I couldn't believe it, considering how low his drop rate is. Yeah, I think I need a lot of luck to get to 130%. But got a couple of months, so you never know. It's going to take a lot of grinding and a lot of luck. I'm just hoping all my luck didn't run out getting center. All I can do is try, I suppose. I'm curious to know how much of a percentage gain each one of them get. I'm thinking at a minimum I'll need 3. I'll get another legendary crate with the weekly league this week, so if I'm really lucky I might get another one in that, but just have to see, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know anyone who ever buys one of them. Knowing the chances of getting what you want are so slim. May as well just buy a crate off her if you're going to spend that many bucks. At least with the crate offer you then get some boost as well, so... Surely this legendary crate must be closed. Yeah, to buy a legendary in the market, it's roughly the equivalent of about $50. And that's just ridiculous. I don't have any crate timers left, so this legendary is going to take 24 hours less what, 5 hours of ads. And I don't have Mansell for the opening round, so it would be nice to get a legendary crate and then score Mansell in it. But the odds of doing that are about 1 in 500, I think. I don't remember. I don't remember which boost came from which GP. I'm using cranberry because I simply don't use it anywhere else. I've never used it up until this rotation, this track rotation. One benefit I've got is I don't have to try too hard in duels. Yeah, it is easy. Yeah, this track rotation is just so easy, it's not funny. Plus everyone uses the standard setup and I don't use the same setup as everybody else. I'll show you. You know, the drivers make it easy too. Like these podium stars just make it simple. But then, oh, there you go. The setup on the right's what everybody uses and what everybody recommends. And the setup on the left is what I use and it absolutely smashes them. But I still get players that say, oh, you're using the wrong setup, you're using the wrong setup. Yeah, well, I've got I've got 214 win streaks, so it can't be too bad a setup. Yeah, well, maybe if they'd look and use the right setup, or use the same setup, they'd do better. Where is your hometown? I live on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. Yeah, I don't know if flags make all much difference. Wrong one. Use that one. Use that one. pretty much once you're out in front. You just stay in front. Yeah, but only just. It doesn't really make any difference. Who's third? Is it Norris? Yeah, so Norris goes to hards. Look at that. Second to third's like 10 seconds already. Look at that, 16 seconds in front of third. There's not much, you know. I could probably do a complete double stack and still end up 10 seconds in front. Oh, look! Finally! Finally got it. Oh, that was quicker than I thought it'd be. That legendary crate's taken about 12 hours of playing this game. Yeah, I've thrown money at it. Now look at the difference in lap times between Senna and Verstappen. 2.25 seconds and still one. There you go. Same setup everybody else uses. Max 3 instead of Chaos Core. And Chaos Core gives you more, drops a little bit of cornering, gives you heaps more speed and heaps more qualifying. But everybody uses the setup on the right. What are we up to here? 2:15. So what did it take? 12:15, 12:55. 40 minutes. 40 minutes plus. Seventh on hard, 12th on soft. To explain a little bit better, I've thrown money at this game I've thrown money at this game for purposes. Like for example, I threw money at the game to get Brabham to win a Champs GP because I knew it'd make a big difference in the end of season score, and it does. Makes a huge difference. Look, I know a lot of people complain about people throwing money at this game, but what they have to realise is that the people who throw money at this game make it possible for the people who don't to play. If nobody threw money at this game probably wouldn't exist by now. Oh, dead heat. I wish there was more tracks to play. 4 tracks gets a bit tedious after a while. I like the old days where you had, in Series 12, you had all the tracks. You know, put these stupid track stats in. Look, if I was going to redesign this game, there's a lot I'd change about it. I'd get rid of the track stats, I'd get rid of the stupid sponsored tasks. I'll get rid of the way the groupings are done. I'd get rid of the way the matchups are in GPs. I'd have matches based on flags. I'd have groups in GPs. I'd have groups in GPs random. Matchmaking I'd probably change to 5%, not 10%. I'd have all the tracks available in Series 12. And where they have all your medals listed in your stats, I'd have them in the order you won them, not the stupid random order they put them in now. They put them in the order that you won them. You could see your progress through the year. I'd have duels and GPs act the same way. Now, if this was a GP, okay, in a duel you qualify top 5. In a GP, this exact same setup, same track, same drivers, you're qualifying like 17th. Which I think is ridiculous. You know, you can have 140 qualifying and qualify in the same positions in a GP as someone with 125 qualifying. I'd get rid of the point-based qualifying, point-based tiebreakers in GPs. I'd have fastest lap as the only tiebreaker. You know, I don't think it's fair that you have one bad round where you lose 1 point in qualifying and then you get 2 perfect rounds, and that 1 point could put you 15th. You know, final rounds in GPs should be whatever points you get in that round. If you get a perfect round and you get the fastest lap in that round, then you should win that GP. Not get a perfect score, get the fastest lap, but because you've dropped 1 point in qualifying, you're 15th. And you know, you're P15 in the final round. Like, I don't think your previous round should dictate where you finish in your final round. Hey clone, yeah, finally got it. Only took me about 150 races. Now I just got to pray that it's worth it. Knowing my luck, it'll have friggin' doing in it. Yeah. I'm praying that legendary crate's got Mansell in it. I'm not going to be impressed if I miss out qualifying for the final round all because I don't have Mansell. I'm not going to be happy. The last 3 legendary crates I've got Equinox, Fury and Vortex. And Hadjar and Colapinta. No, not Hadjar. What's the other one called? Behrman. Behrman and Colapinto. I don't know, to tell you the truth. Oh shit. Okay. I've got that list of crates, and I thought I should have got a legendary about 10 crates earlier than I did. But following that, trying to follow that list isn't the easiest. And according to that list, there's only like 4 legendary crates in every 240 races. So if you've got to average 60 races to get a legendary crate, you should at least be guaranteed something higher than, Equinox or some, you should at least be guaranteed a series of 10, 11 or 12 epic. And gold crates are basically useless now. You have to give up an epic for 1 boost or $1. I think most people would forego 1 warrior for an epic. Yeah, here we go. What's he going to use? Hopefully he's bundled off. Oh, he didn't use boost. He must have quit. I've played this guy probably a dozen times. And I've killed him every single time. Maybe he's just looked, no, I'm not playing this time. Yeah, I think he must have quit. Yeah, Clone, I stumbled across this setup because I could never get a 1-2 at Singapore. And it was like, okay, try this. And it worked. Instantly, 1-2 Singapore. I was like, okay. Then I noticed everybody was recommending, you know, use the setup without chaos core. You know, like max cornering. Oh, why? I stumbled, you know, I've been using this. Oh, shoot. Look, I've noticed that this setup, people can be on full boost and you can just cruise around and stay in front of them. So, you know, my philosophy is, if it works, use it. You know, I've had people say, oh, your car's slow. You know, full cornering would kill it. Well, $220 races and I haven't had one who's beat me yet, so, you know, everyone uses the other set, which instantly gives you about 50 speed more for about 25 cornering less. So, as far as I'm concerned, nothing beats speed. I'm going to do this stream till I get a gold crate. Then I'm going to call it off because it's nearly 1:30 in the morning. And I've got to be up early for the briefing. You know, look at that. I'm almost about to lap P8. I'm not even trying. What have we got? Blady Belemku. Sorry, man, I can only speak English. No, we're not allowed to be on social media. No, there's some pretty heavy restrictions with the Formula One. With the Aussie supercars, I can, but not with the Formula One. Formula One, you need permission to do it. And that goes for everybody. It goes for the drivers, the teams. They all need permission to do it. They are super strict. And it's not just a case of asking. You have to put it in writing. And then it goes to, you've got to then submit that to the F1 media division, I think it is. And depending on what position you hold, like my position, I've got a position and I'm a member of the FIA. So it then has to go to the FIA to be approved. And it's a real long drawn out process. It's the less I have to do dealing with the FIA, the better, because I've had so many reprimands from the FIA for saying, what I think. Like the president of the FIA, his initials are MBS, but I call him Mr. Bullshit, and they don't like it. But if I was in Europe, I'd lose my licence. But because I'm in Australia, they have to be a bit more tolerable. Anyway, that's the setup I use. And that's the setup everybody says to use. Now, the setup I use gives you 40 more speed for 30 less cornering. But you got 300 cornering anyway. Well, 300 is huge. So, and it also gives you more qualifying. But yeah, I got reprimanded for posting my steward's badge on YouTube. I had to take it down. Like, it's a joke. Look, I used to post pics on like all the behind the scenes stuff, and yeah, didn't like that either. I used to take pics from standing in the middle of the racetrack, and they said that was encouraging dangerous behaviour. Like, what the fuck? Encouraging dangerous behaviour. It's friggin'... The photos are taken at like 6 o'clock in the morning. There's nothing else on the track. Yeah, encouraging dangerous behaviour. I was at the Gold Coast races one year. The supercars have this huge event on the Gold Coast every year. And where all the marshals and that meet is on an island in the middle of the track. And living on this island are peacocks. And I posted we were there one year, and this peacock was annoyed, and it started chasing people around. And like, this guy, it's huge, big, muscly, tall, you know, looks like they could break bricks in half with their bare hands. Absolutely scared to death of this peacock, of this one particular peacock. And it was chasing everybody around. And I recorded it and posted it. And I got to please explain, as it was being disrespectful to, how'd they word it? Being disrespectful to fellow volunteers. It was like, what do you mean? Everyone thought it was hilarious. Like, even the guy that was getting chased around thought it was hilarious. But yeah, it was taken. I used to walk down pit straight, right, on the track. And it was even before the course cars would go out, or the safety cars would go out and check the track before they'd open the track to the race cars. Yeah, encouraging dangerous behaviour. Yeah, I've been reprimanded for encouraging dangerous behaviour, setting a bad example to the younger officials, um, what else? Oh no, I didn't notice it. It's going to be fun. Don't go to pit, don't go to pit. Oh, could they go any slower? Oh, I'm going to... Oh no, he's on. And we're going to risk... No, I've got to... No. I've got to go with at least one. Because if I don't, he will. We'll see how fast softs can... See how much it can make up in one lap. Yeah, we can't even talk about what gets said inside the steward's room either. Well, we can't talk to the TVs, we can't be interviewed. The teams can't ask us, if they see us walking around, they can't ask us questions about what was said in there. Yep. If, okay, what the procedure is. There's an incident on track, it gets referred to the stewards. Unless it's referred to us, we can't do anything about it. Right? It has to be referred. We can't just say, we saw an incident, we're going to investigate it. Doesn't happen. Once it's referred to us, all the stewards review it at the same time, and we get all the in-cars, we get all the TV footage, but there's a lot more cameras around the track than what the public knows about, and we get the footage to all of that as well. We then have to review every bit of footage from every angle. Then we all put in our recommendations as to what we think should happen, whether there should be a penalty applied, and there's 3 main stewards and there's 2 reserve stewards. The reserve stewards have their say, but they don't get a vote. The 3 main stewards usually they agree there's a penalty or there's not a penalty. But when it comes to the penalty, that's a different story. We have guidelines, and we have precedents, but we don't have to listen to, we don't have to take them into account if we don't want to. But it comes down to a majority vote. When it comes to penalties, I'm really, really tough. Like, I have actually recommended in some instances over the years that a player should get a race ban for what they did. But they really don't like that recommendation. We then have to be careful that we're not shown to be biased. And usually what happens is, if a take for instance the penalty with Piastri last year where he braked behind the safety car. Because he's Australian and I'm Australian, I would have to recuse myself from that decision. And that's where they bring in a reserve steward to make the vote. Because personally I thought it was too harsh, but it can be seen to be biased. Oh, I'm super strict. In 2007, with the whole McLaren cheating scandal, if I had my way, Lewis Hamilton would have been banned for the entire rest of the year. And not because of anything he did on the track. He came into the steward's room and he lied to the stewards. And it was proven to be a lie. And to me, that's the worst thing you can do. Yeah, breaches of safety really bring out my wrath. But to answer your question, it's taken on a vote and then the majority wins. Plus something else that the public don't know about. Not all rules apply to all the tracks. There are rules for some tracks that don't apply to other tracks. Okay. Drivers have to request. There's two ways a driver can be in a steward's room. One, there's been an incident and they get a please explain and they have to come to a steward's meeting, a hearing. Right? And that's where they state their case. They explain. They basically try and talk their way out of the penalty. Or they can come and ask for clarification, which then we tell them why. We don't have to tell them why. But yeah, when you hear drivers going to the steward's room after the races, that's because we've requested that they appear. We want to please explain. And sometimes that'll influence our decisions and sometimes it won't. Now, if they want to appeal a decision, that's a whole different ballgame. They have to put up $10,000 US to appeal a decision. If they lose the appeal, they lose the $10,000. A lot of teams, even though they've got millions of bucks, they don't like throwing money away. So, unless they really think they're in the right, they'll just wear the decision and get on with life. Actually, that 10 grand, that might be 100 grand nowadays. It used to be 10 grand. It could be 100 grand now. I don't know if they actually, I know they were talking about it, I don't know if they actually implemented it or not. We don't get involved with anything, we don't have to. We have enough crap to deal with. Also, when they get called to the stewards, they're allowed to bring, like sometimes, it depends who gets called, because the team can be called as well. If the driver gets called, they're allowed to come with one team member. It was usually, like say in the old days with Red Bull, it would have been Max gets called to the stewards, he'll turn up with Christian Horner. It's usually the team principal who turns up. Sometimes the technical director will turn up. Just depends what they're being called up for. But they're allowed to come up with one team member. The drivers can only approaches for an explanation of a ruling in the steward's room. They can't do it while we're walking around. Also, if, for example, sometimes you'll get an incident that you just, it's so on the line that, oh, maybe, oh crap, I did it again. You know, maybe it deserves a penalty, maybe it doesn't. And normally that's a technical problem that, you know, one of the cameras hasn't worked or something and the incident isn't clearly shown. Then the decision comes down to the chief steward, which is good. Keeps it out of our hair. To be a steward, you also have to be qualified in everything else. The only two things a steward isn't qualified or doesn't have to be qualified in is medical and fire. We have to have marshalling qualifications, which is flag marshals, paddock marshals, crowd marshals, scrutineering, God, it's that long since I looked at the list. What else is there? I can't think of what the rest are now. Yeah, scrutineering, flag marshals, and communications, that's the other one. would it take to be a steward if you start from the bottom? Okay. If you don't have your FIA license and you've never done anything, what you have to do is do 3 days at a race meeting as a trainee. Once you've finished the 3 days, you get, that qualifies you for your FIA license. Once you've got your FIA license, you then have to do courses for everything. The courses are really easy. Each course takes 1 day. It takes 1 day to teach you how to be a marshal, 1 day to, and when I say being a marshal, that usually means a grid marshal. The courses are usually held like on weekends that the racing isn't on. So you sign up for the course. The courses are free. You go and you sit through the class. You do the exam at the end. The lecturer will grade your exam on the spot, because it's only like 10 questions or something. They will then, you either pass or you fail. And honestly, I've never known anyone who's failed. That'll get you your FIA licence, and it gets your licences endorsed. Then when the races are on, you sign up to be a marshal for that weekend. You go and do a few meetings. You don't want to go straight to being a steward, believe me. You've got to know the rules. The rules change so often. Every year there's a new set of rules. You know, then they have sporting regulations, they have technical regulations, and that's what everybody knows. Everybody knows the two of those. Right? They've all heard of sporting regulations and technical regs. What a lot of people haven't heard of are supplementary regs, and they're track specific. Because not all tracks are the same, supplementary regs are regulations for that track for that weekend. You know, and it's things like, you know, you can't cross this line, or if you run off the track, you've got to enter the track this particular way, and, you know, stuff like that. Normally what people do to become a steward, they do the races for about a year, and that can be any race meeting that's sanctioned by the FIA. Doesn't necessarily have to be Formula 1, it could be the British Touring Car Championship, it could be European Touring Car Championship, German Touring Car Championship, anything that's sanctioned by the FIA. Then when you decide you want to be a steward, you go and sit a steward's course, and they teach you procedure. You pass that course, and you become a steward. Then what you'll do is you'll start off as a reserve, and you'll learn the procedure of what goes on, basically how a steward's hearing is conducted. Once you've done that, you'll just advance your way up until you become a sitting steward. And I don't always be a steward. I like actually being a support paddock marshal. You know, I like looking after everything else. Because basically you get to, I've done so many different categories of cars just from doing a support paddock marshal. And it's a lot more fun than being a steward's a pain. You know, you're dragged in. You can be there till like all hours of the night. When you do support paddock marshal, that's excellent because when the actual main race is on, you've got all the free time in the world, you've got nothing to do. So you can actually enjoy it. You know, you can get out, you can look at the cars, you can talk to the drivers. You know, you can go check out the merchandise. As a steward, 90% of the time you're stuck in a room staring at monitors. Just depending on what meeting it is, you're a steward for all the different categories. You're not just a steward for, you know, the Formula One and all. You know, for instance, in Europe, I'd imagine you'd be a steward for the F3, the F2 and the F1, which means that you really don't have a lot of time to yourself. If you want to know anything about becoming a steward, and believe me, it's good fun. It really is. Like, you know, first of all, you never have to buy a ticket. You get closer to the cars. The only people who get closer to the cars than you are the drivers and the teams. That's it. You get to walk around the track in every track has an area between the public and the racetrack. That's where you get to walk. You don't have to walk through the public. You know, you actually get closer to the racetrack than anybody else there. Like, take the Gold Coast. You can stand so close to the fence that if you wanted to, you could reach out and touch the cars as they drive past. Not that you would, but you could. But yeah, if you want to be a marshal, you contact your local motorsport council. Like in England, it's the British Racing Drivers Club. Over here, it's Motorsport Australia. I don't know if the American... I don't know if America has an FIA affiliated organisation. They might have one now, seeing they've got 3 GPs. But all the countries in Europe have one. And you just contact them, and believe me, they'll bend over backwards to help you, because the one thing they always want are new marshals. They're always asking for new marshals. There's never enough. Anyway, it's 2 a.m. and I'm going to call it a night and get some sleep. Oh, I just realised something. My fucking watch is on Queensland time, so it's actually 3 a.m. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. Good to chat to you, and I'll talk to you later.